Hello, boys and girls. Welcome to the Cool Kids Lunch Table podcast with PJ and Mike. Now, please find yourself a seat at their table.
Hey guys, I'm Mike.
I'm PJ.
And today is our 18th episode, and today we're talking about the best bands, the best artists of the 90s and early 2000s. And to help us out, we have our brother, Rob, and one of my best friends, Sean.
Hi guys.
Hello.
Thanks again for having us here. I'm excited. I'm Rob.
Yeah, and I'm Sean.
Thanks for coming back.
Yeah, if you, for some of our listeners, they were here last week, and we talked about Back to the Future and the trilogy and everything, and check that out if you haven't already. But for those first-time listeners who haven't met Rob and Sean, let me give you a little background on them, okay? So Rob is my older brother and best friend. He's been playing drums for over 30 years. He cites Mike Portnoy, Travis Barker, Charlie Watts, Carter Buford, Dave Grohl, and Josh Freese as his influences. And Sean, he's one of my best friends and my neighbor for over 30 years. He's been playing guitar and bass for over 30 years. He cites Led Zeppelin, Rush, Nirvana, Metallica, and Dream Theater as his influences. And folks, just to give you guys some background about the three of us, okay, all of us have been in bands together, okay? And I'll tell you a little bit about them, some of the more notable ones. Okay, so one of our first band together with two additional members, we were called The Otherworld. We entered this contest and we actually won. I think we were ranked, I don't know, I think I was 100, we were like number 88 or something, and we were, and the name of the book is called So You Want to Be a Rock Star. That book is still in print. The forward is by Gwen Stefani's brother. I don't have his name, but he wrote the forward. Oh, there we go.
Stefani.
Nice, Shawnee Babes. Yeah.
I still have the book
yeah, we did a
collection.
little book tour for that. We played at Borders Books, all those kind of shops. We played like at your street fairs.
We were on News 12.
Yep, we were on a local news station.
Yeah, it's a local station in Long
Yeah,
Island.
and we played actually a guy named he actually opened for us, believe it or not. His name was Ravi. He was like a very accomplished guitar player.
He played with Hanson.
And he played with
He was
Hanson,
the
yeah.
backup guitarist. That was
Yep.
big for us too.
Yeah, and
I know that. My wife's a big Hanson fan.
Yeah. Then my brother and Sean joined a ska band called While Supplies Last. The music was played on the now unfortunately dead radio station WLIR, which is 92.7. Sean's last two bands was called Red House and Night Screams. Their music was widely available in music stores, kind of like a throwback to 80s, somewhat space rock, I guess you could describe them.
Well, I know Red House had an alternative type of sound. As for Night Screams, yeah, we have more. We try to keep it modern. There is a little flashback to some different influences, But yeah, it's I call it a hard rock album.
Yeah. And we were actually in a band together called Tomorrow's Fire. Sean ended up leaving that band to go with Night Screams. But my brother and I, with Tomorrow's Fire, our music video for Daydreaming, that's the opening song to our show. It's instrumental. There's no vocals in it, but you can hear the vocal version if you go to our, a Bandcamp or our YouTube channel. But our music video was featured in the Long Island Press. We recorded at Cloud9 Studios, who are known for making the guitar pedals for Joe Walsh and Stevie Wonder. They make analog alien pedals. And this is the same place I've recorded 9 Days from the 90's band that did Story of a Girl. And he also worked with Joan Jett. So not that we're trying to show off our catalog, but just give you some background of our accomplishments.
So what we're saying here is on the show today, we have some really talented and certified musicians.
Yes.
Which means their
Yes.
opinions about the bands that we pick hold a lot of weight. So if they say it's good, they're good.
Yeah, and we're doing
There
all
you go.
genres. We're not just focusing on rock.
Yeah.
We try to mix it up. But to kick things off, Mr. PJ, we always start off with a childhood memory. So, fellas, what band or artist got you into playing an instrument or just into music in general? PJ, you want to start us off?
So for me, it's probably different than you guys because you're all talented musicians. I'm not a musician. I actually didn't really get into music, like loving music, until I started to appreciate the way it was used in music and in movie soundtracks.
Oh, yeah.
Because for me, if I listen to a song, I don't know, my brain's broken, right? So if I listen to it, I don't know if it's a happy song, I don't know if it's a sad song, I can't pick out a meaning. All I can do is hum along with the tune, right? And I might like it, but it doesn't mean much to me. But what wound up happening is the more I got into movies and I started seeing how the songs would change the tone of the films and the scenes, that's when I started to realize the power of music.
I love that.
I like that.
Shorty Babies, you want to talk about your early childhood memory?
Wow. So, where can I begin? So I think it was Christmas in '93 that I ended up getting Billy Joel, River of Dreams, on a cassette.
Wow.
And of course, being a Long Island boy, of course they're gonna,
Yeah.
you know. But
Of all the Billy Joels to start
Yeah.
with, you
Well,
want River of
What's that
Dreams.
song like? I'm living in the night.
yeah. Well, there's more. There's
Yeah.
more. There's more to this.
Cue it, PJ.
In the middle of the night, I go walking in my sleep.
I ended up having a Walkman that I would always play. I would play the album on all the time, over and over and over again. And you know, I knew Billy Joel because my mom would play it in the car. This was like I guess his recent album during that time. And one time I think we were in Pennsylvania, and it was over at my grandparents' house. And I remember the month because I'll explain why. It was May '94. And we went into a Kmart outside of Milford, and I decided, you know, I had money with me. I want to get a cassette. So I'm looking at all the bands that, you know, all the bands that were up there and what
Yeah, all the
and
album covers, yeah.
exactly.
Mhm.
And one caught my eye, and it was Nirvana's Nevermind.
Yeah.
And let me tell you something. When I first brought that home and I popped it in, I was just like, oh my gosh! It was just an incredible album that really changed my world, how I saw music, and it inspired me to pick up a guitar.
Yeah.
And yeah, it would start a new journey for me, not just with music. It also started a new journey for me as a musician. So you know, to get to meet people who were also inspired by their artists, and
The rest is history. Yeah.
you know, there's not that much to say here because two of them are sitting here with me.
Oh, wow, yeah.
With me, so
Yeah. Mhm.
yeah.
Thank you, Shawnee Bays. Uncle Rob, what about your memory?
Oh, yeah.
Uncle Rob, yeah.
Nice. Yeah, so I know we're talking 90s, 2000s today, but I had to go back also to the Rolling Stones. Was a huge influence on me. I think I got to hear Mikey's story because we lived together, we're brothers. We didn't share how this happened for us, but for me, it's got to be the Stones. I grew up in a very musical house in terms of listening and playing music. My parents aren't performers, they didn't play instruments, but my dad blasted the Rolling Stones all the time. I think I kind of came out of the womb already listening to Satisfaction and everything. But blasting it all the time, he would just literally almost have like rock concerts in the house.
Yeah.
Where he's like sitting on the couch, raising his arm up in the air, watching like live VHSs.
He would be cheering, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times we were sitting there and I'm hearing over and over all these Stones tracks, and like I had gotten a toy drum set, I think I was maybe 4 or 5 years old. Mikey got a little electric plastic guitar around his neck. We were actually called the Rolling Pebbles. My dad called us that.
Yeah.
So the Stones are deep in the blood right now, and Charlie Watts is probably the first guy I saw playing drums, and it was just always in my ears, and I guess kind of inspired me to play, and it kind of started me listening to music. And my dad played a ton of different music. I really have to give him a lot of credit in terms of music in general, but the Stones, I gotta say, and all their songs just kind of got me going. For sure.
A shout out to your dad.
Yes.
During my wedding, we went. It was like the later half of the wedding. I saw your dad standing by the dance
Yeah.
spot. And I was just like, you know what? I ran over to DJ. I'm like, I want to play the Stones. Get no satisfaction. Sure enough, they go right into it. He jumps right in there and starts doing the dance. And I was just like,
Yeah.
all the chat, because I remember as a kid coming over to see Rob and Mike, and your father would always be playing the Stones, and to me, it's like that is awesome. Like, you know, he's playing those loud rock, even during the summertime. You're outside, outside. I can hear it from my backyard too. It's like blasting music. Even if it's not the Stones, it's like any classic band during that time frame. It's just so influenced.
Yeah.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. I think just
Still
kind
happens
of
today.
To echo my brother, I think the two biggest bands are the Stones and Nirvana. I'll start with the Stones. Like I said, we were raised on the Stones, and you know, like my brother said, like even at a young age, like certain things that you kind of just understand very quickly, like a band like Angie. You know, like I didn't know what it meant lyrically. I could just tell by the tone. I always talk about tone. I knew that this meant something. You know.
Right.
And I just remember my dad. When we talk about my dad blasting music, I mean the house would be shaking. I mean, we said Sean lived 2 houses down. You could hear it. So like. My mom used to get mad like, rah! You know, my father's name is also, it's RJ, but he's Rob's also. It's just like my mom just yelling. And, but yeah, I mean, see, I feel like the Stones, made me love music. And then when I heard Nirvana, it made me want to play music, made me want to be in a band. So those two bands are like so important to my heart and my journey through music. So those two bands are just so damn important to me. And Rob. But wow, that memory lane was real deep, man. Got Memory Motel, Rolling Stones again. Cue it, PJ.
We spent a lonely night at the Memory Motel. It's on the ocean. I guess you know it well.
Don't get me going nostalgia.
And now
right
about
now.
me and my wife. No, that's another story.
It was the best of times. It was the worst of times.
No, like for instance, me and Lisa also have a connection too when we played.
Oh,
That's what
yeah.
encouraged us to continue on.
Right. Well, that actually got you your first date, basically.
Yeah.
She was a drummer. You were,
I know.
you know.
Oh, we both fell in love when we first saw each other.
Oh.
Shout out to my wife.
It was
Lisa.
love at first note.
Yeah.
Oh, there
Yes.
it is.
Yeah.
I mean, drums and guitar, I can't do any better than that.
Yeah.
But folks, we're doing, I guess this is not like, we're not doing like by like year order. So we're not gonna do like 91, 92, 93. We're just gonna do bands of the 90s and then maybe go to early 2000s. It may go back and forth. So this is not any kind of ranking. This is just us ramble off our favorite bands, artists, ones who we think are great, some who we think don't get enough praise.
And it's all genres. It's not just rock. It's not
Yes,
just metal or
exactly.
anything like that. It's all genres of music.
Yeah. So PJ, you want to start us off, man?
Sure. I will pick the first band that I have on my list here is Rage Against the Machine.
Yes.
Oh my
Beautiful
God.
choice.
I'm a
For
big
sure.
fan of Rage. I actually
yeah.
saw them, I guess it was last year at this point, at the Garden when Zach's leg was broken. Dude still put on a great show. So much energy, he couldn't even stand, and the energy that he had
Right.
on stage and the presence he had on stage was crazy. I love this band. I like their sound because I think it's a unique sound, and I still don't think any other band sounds like them.
Yep. I was just about to say
it's-
that.
It's rock, it's rap, it's funk, it's metal, it's blues. They have such a unique sound. It combines all different genres of music, and like I said, Zach De La Rocca's voice is just instantly recognizable. And I like that. You know, like I said earlier, sometimes I can't hear the meaning or the messaging in songs. Like it doesn't click for me all
Right.
the time. But for them, all of their songs have a message and a meaning behind it that's instantly recognizable. For me, my favorite song is "Killing in the Name." I think a lot of people probably favorite
Yeah,
song of
yeah.
them. But what's interesting also about Rage Against the Machine is just to show like how much influence they have in other areas of pop culture. Stone Cold Steve Austin's music is based on Bulls on Parade. He heard the song and he went to the WWE music department and said he wanted his music to be reminiscent of that song. And if you go back and listen to that and then listen, like after the
You
glass,
can hear it.
you can hear it after the glass breaks. If you really listen, it is very reminiscent of Bulls on Parade.
Wow.
Yeah.
Bulls on Parade.
Yeah.
Someone out there mix them both together.
Wow, I like that.
Nice. And real quick, with that PJ, like you said, like they're in a league of their own. I think a lot of the bands we're gonna mention today are probably, but they're one of a kind, Rage. And I think that's one of the things I think that's missing in today's music. And this isn't a rank. We're not picking on today's music. Obviously, we're going back to the past. But I think what Rage has, they have attitude.
Yes,
okay? They have
absolutely.
attitude. You can feel it. You can hear it.
Yep.
And you can see it if you see them live. So nice. Shorty Babes, what about you? What's on? Who do you got?
All right. I got a big list, but no, I know we're going to cover what we can cover here. So I'm going to start off with Stone Temple Pilots.
Yes, they're on my list too.
Yes.
Yep, me too.
And,
Oh, good. Okay, we
both
both
tried.
I got to
Bands on my
say,
Yeah.
with
gonna happen.
God, I'm blanking out. Scott Weiland's vocals and the rest of the bands before, it's especially the way that they play. If you listen to Plush, the chord changes on there are just incredible. I was just talking to you guys earlier about the cage system. Like, there's other ways of playing chords, and that's what they're doing. It's like jazz type
Yes.
rhythms. And
With
it's
Dean
just-
DeLeo, right?
Yes.
Right.
There was an interview with Rick Beato it was this
Yeah.
incredible interview if you guys want to check it out. But yeah, the playing style, and especially when you listen to the first album, it sounds like a different band especially during that time period when everyone's like grunge bands, Seattle and stuff.
Yeah.
They were a band from San Diego, and the critics were trashing on them because they're like, oh, it's just
And I
another 90s
disagree with that. I
imitate.
never got the
So-
connection to a Pearl Jam. I never got that.
Exactly, but it was their second album, Purple, that finally just shut them up.
Yep.
And that album was just holy crap! So many of these songs, Interstate Love Song, and
Oh yeah.
and Big Empty. I'm trying to think. I'm trying to think of a lot of songs in
No,
my head.
of course.
But they were just so like never forgettable. They always click in my head.
Yeah.
Whenever I'm listening to the radio or just on the road or whatever.
Yeah.
So yeah, I shoot out to them.
Rob, what are you
Yeah,
going to say about STP? If you don't mind jumping in, did you have comments about?
No, to add on to that, as a musician for sure, their sound, the guitar playing, the drumming. I know his beats are creative.
Yep.
In terms of learning from that, for sure, they were both on my shelf in terms of like Rage Against the Machine and SDP, in terms of just kind of learning different ways of drumming. And as frontmen,
Yep.
when you get into that probably too, you can go off for 2 hours about that. But as a frontman, I love
think
his
he's the-
movements, I love his
Yep.
style, I love the way he dressed.
That's
Yeah.
one
I
of
think
the
he took on
things.
the stage, and he didn't even play an instrument.
I think
and he
that's-
was just killing it.
I think
Killing the name of no, he was killing it. He was just owning it.
I think that was one of the biggest things is that when you have a vocalist, you need them to be the front man. You gotta show them like you own the crowd.
Yeah.
Like Freddie Mercury from Queen, or trying to think of like Mick Jagger from Rolling Stones. Like you gotta go up there and own that crowd.
Uncle Rob, what do you have? Uncle Rob, what do you have?
Yeah, Uncle
So
Rob.
I'm gonna go into a little bit of the more later '90s with Third Eye Blind.
Yes,
Nice.
dude. Nice.
Nice.
Maybe not
I
as
forgot
heavy, a little bit softer, I guess. Maybe like, I don't know, I guess you call it alternative, but just like comforting to the ear. I don't know. Semi-Chime Live, How It's Gonna Be, Jumper. I mean, that album they came out with,
They're like a staples of '90s music.
Yeah. Yes.
Exactly, and that album, their sound, and that it's just perfect.
Yeah.
From song to song,
Yeah.
How Is It Gonna Be, and everything. It's just
That's an
lyrically,
inspired
it's
pick.
cool. Yeah.
That's a good pick.
Arrangements is cool, vocally is cool. Icing of a secret plane. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like in his, this pronunciation actually works well for him
Yes.
as well. Same thing musically. I liked growing up and hearing different types of bands and drummers and musicians in general. So I feel like even their style taught me different ways of playing within a song, how not to overplay, how to play the parts for a chorus, verse, and everything. But yeah, their songs still carry really, really well.
Yes.
They're fun to hear. When you dig deeper into their lyrics, they're kind of heavy.
Yes.
But yeah, I just love them. You can play it really for anybody. It's like an easy listening type
Yeah,
band.
and it never sounds aged. I feel like that album came out today, it would still work.
Yeah,
You know
it
what I
would.
mean?
100%.
It's-
What do you guys think of the second album, Blue?
I think it's a great.
love
It's
it.
I love it too.
I think it was a great follow-up. I mean,
Yeah.
that was
Yeah.
big shoes to try to fill.
I
in
know.
Because
the
that first
music.
album was immaculate.
Yeah.
They say, when your first album rocks, it's tough sometimes to come
Yeah, the
back
sophomore-
from it.
the sophomore curse.
I
Yeah.
think they did a good
And
job.
then they did
with
a
the
really
second
great
album.
job. And I'm actually really happy now that you see them out again playing
Yeah.
full, venues.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, Mike and I saw them in a smaller venue, Mulcahy's in Wantagh,
I was there.
New York. Yeah, with you. Sorry, Sean.
Sorry.
And I was actually really bummed because I was sad they were playing such a small venue. But I was right up there, I saw them with the sweat coming down from their face. I was
Yeah.
like mind blown.
Yeah.
It's sad to see a band like that in a small venue, but it's great to see a band
I
like
know,
that. In a
so I
small
got it.
But now
venue.
they're-
And now they're back at the big
Yeah.
venues, which
Yeah.
I'm happy
Yeah.
about.
Yeah.
Well, no, it's good to see them play smaller.
Yeah.
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 Right in front of your face.
Yeah.
To me, I think that's like you get a more
Yeah.
like.
You can appreciate the sound
Yeah.
and the show better.
It's like I've done that.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
kind of
If I
like a
c-
dream come true in a way.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you wanted to
Yeah.
keep going. Thank God they came back.
If I can recall, I think they ended with God of Wine, and this just give you some rando fact. My first CD that I ever got was actually their album, Third Eye Blind.
Wow.
Wow.
Oh.
Yeah. I guess to continue with a lot of these rock bands, I think this is probably on all of our lists. Is Silverchair.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
it's on my
alright.
list.
That's
Yeah, we
double
can
start
all
on
we can
mine.
all chime in on, but for those who don't know who Silverchair were, they were these young guys from Australia, and when they blew up, they were like 15, 16 years old, and they're only a few years older than us, maybe 4 years. So when we saw these guys, and at this point too, I think to kind of go back to Nirvana, obviously they inspired Nirvana very much, but like when Kurt passed away, I felt like, even though I was like 9 at the time, I felt like I lost a friend. I felt, believe it or not, musically, I felt very, I think I see everyone bobbing their heads here.
Yeah.
Maybe let's talk about Kurt for a second. Like when he passed away,
Going
it
back
was,
to May '94. It was a month after he passed away, and then I was not familiar that he killed himself. And then my dad told me. I was like, "What?"
Wow.
And during that end of the year, I got all their albums, and they were showing the highlight of '94 on MTV, and it was all about Kurt Cobain at the end. And I was just like, "Oh, I can't."
What's
believe it.
what's
I'll never
crazy about that too is we were talking about Kurt Cobain killing himself. Like that happened. We were all young when that happened. Like
Yeah.
the idea of someone killing themselves never even crossed my mind
yes.
until
Yeah.
Kurt
Yes.
Cobain killed
Yes.
That
himself.
was
Yeah.
crushing, man.
Yeah.
You know, coming off of like the Unplugged and everything, getting to music. I kind of wanted to save a story for this, but yeah, it was very, very, very just painful. And hurtful.
Yeah.
And Silverchair, I feel like, not to cut you off, Mike, you can go back, but it kind of like not rescued me, but they were always compared kind of to Nirvana. Right. They had a similar sound. They loved Nirvana themselves. Yeah. So like it was like the right band at the right time, I guess. They come out of it with a heaviness and an alternative feel. Yeah.
Yeah. So exactly, Rob. Yeah, you kind of stole my thunder. Like they kind of like rescued me in that department. I was like, oh my god. Yeah. But Silverchair, like I said, like, and they were, like I said, we were only a few years younger than them, so it's like maybe us want to be a band. Like maybe my dream can come true. It made it seem very possible, and I just thought there were only 3 people. There were a power trio in my department. I kind of felt like Daniel Johns, the singer, is almost like the David Bowie of that era. I know now he's right. Sadly, Silverchair is on indefinite hiatus. But I really felt like they could have been the next kind of Bowie-esque kind of band. No, Bowie wasn't in a band, but you know what I'm saying. Like, they could have really gone that direction. Because each album, they've grown and grown and grown. I love all. They don't have a weak album at all. PJ, back to you, my man.
We've been doing a lot of rock, so I'm going to switch it up a little bit and give a different genre here. So my next 90s artist is the best rapper of all time, Notorious B.I.G. I would say he is definitely the best rapper of all time, in my opinion. Also, at the time when he was getting big, West Coast rap was really much more popular, doing much better, and more influential to the rap scene than East Coast rap was. But Biggie comes on the scene and starts to shift things back to the East Coast. I don't think there's any rapper out there today or in the past with as good a flow as Biggie. He's just great. And his freestyle also fantastic. There's you go on YouTube, you can find freestyle videos of him just standing on street corners like Bed-Stuy and stuff. You just fantastic. And I just listed my favorite song from him is the 10 Crack Commandments is my favorite joint. But
I've been in this game for years. It made me an animal. There's rules to this shit. I wrote me a manual, a step-by-step booklet for you to get your game on track. Not your wig pushed back. Rule number uno. Never let no one know how much dough you hold.
I mean, all of his music is great. You can't help but, sing along to it because it's he doesn't speak so fast that
I was just about to say that
you can't follow him. There are so many rappers that just they're spitting fire, but you can't hear a word they're saying.
Right.
Well, he was very eloquent the way he spoke.
100%.
When you listen to rappers today, I don't even know what the hell they're saying.
I have no idea.
Like,
No way.
It's like Bone Thugs and Harmony.
Yeah.
It's like, what?
What's happening? What are these words? But with Biggie, it wasn't like that. You could hear every word.
I was going to say,
and he just spoke so well in those songs. I think he's... and I wanted to switch up the genre, so I went with rap right now. But I think he's another staple of the 90s. I think he's a voice of the 90s.
Yes. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, just to add on, I like that you said this. I always talk about like music in general with people. When I say like rap, I always say I want to hear more 90s rap.
Right.
Exactly. That was the pinnacle of rap, in my opinion.
You can hear them, you know what they're saying, you can hear the story, and the beats.
Yeah, it makes you want to dance.
Really good. They're groovy. They got some soul. There's like a vibe to them. And I feel like nowadays it gets lost.
If you play anything from the 90s during that rap period, I'll know every song. It's crazy.
Yeah.
But it's like
Tupac.
That's a great pick, PJ. And I was gonna say to add on, like you said he has that when he raps, it's like a slow, it's almost like a dance,
right?
And
the cadence to it is awesome.
Yes, exactly. That's the word. Exactly what I was looking for. Cadence and like it's almost like it is poetry.
Yeah.
Like he has like Shakespeare. People say when you reach. I think of Mike Schlepper, one of our former guests. He always says when you reach Shakespeare, you don't you ignore the periods. Like in a sentence. And I feel like he had that what a flow, like you said. And I think as I'm sure we'll talk about Dream Theater later, but John Petrucci would always say, it's actually easier to play fast than it is slow. So I think it's a testament to how good he is, because rapping slow is there's no room for error, and you have to be very clear. And obviously he's making his rhymes much more punctual, because he's not rushing, so he can get to another rhyme that makes it more impactful. So each line's he raps each line as if it's the most important line.
Everything he says in the songs has purpose.
Yes.
There's no filler lines. There's not like just a boring part of the song. It's not going back to a chorus over and over again. It's him just doing his thing and doing it perfectly.
And I think with great songs too, I love when I say this kind of where you can just listen to it. Like anyone could just listen to a Biggie song and just
Yeah.
kind of listen to it through.
Mhm.
You won't hate it, maybe you won't love it, but you can like listen to it. I think that goes for like all bands
Yes.
to an artist. If you can just play, check out my song, and you kind of like listen to it, get a feel for it. Oh, maybe it's not my thing, but you just know it's still a good song.
It's pleasant to your
I
ears.
think that
Yeah.
his sound definitely did that.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah.
Good call.
Nice. Sean Bass, what do you got next?
All right, this is another band that we grew up listening
Oh.
to, and it's an underrated because we kind of, I don't know if we forgot as time went by, but this was a band also in the mid-90s that also took over like after Nirvana, and that would be Bush.
Yeah.
You know, Gavin Rossdale and those rest of those boys that came out with 16 Stones. You had Everything Zen, Calm Down. I'm trying to think of some
Glycerine,
Machine
all
Head.
that.
Little
yeah.
things.
Little things.
Glycerines, you know.
Yeah,
and,
Swallowed.
it was just,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know, that album was just like, I was very impressed, especially during that time. And, yeah, it was, you know, going back to just playing in the garage or whatever we played in. I think we played in your room for a little bit. But, yeah, we used to cover all these songs and we would perform them. But, yeah, I feel like this band was a big influence during
Yeah.
it.
All right, this band came up a couple of times now, so I have to get it out of the way.
Yep.
But not get out of the way,
Right.
it's going to be Nirvana.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Hey, there's no
absolutely.
problem.
Yeah.
You gotta,
Yeah.
you gotta,
I didn't want to go into
we
it.
all
I
have to
figured we'd
cross
talk
off
about
one
it.
off
Yeah,
our
yeah.
list right
I was
now.
trying to
Yeah.
hold them up, but we keep
Yeah.
talking about them, so let's
Right.
get into
Yeah,
it.
go
I guess.
ahead.
Well, it's so impactful, man.
Of
It's,
course,
you know.
and I feel like they led to a lot of these other bands, or the sound of other bands. To,
Yeah.
Bush and stuff like that, Silverchair.
They open up
obviously.
the doors for everybody.
Yeah, exactly. So when I opened today, talking about the Rolling Stones and like listening to Charlie Watts and everything, and the blasting music in my house, my sister used to always blast music also. So
Yep.
you have my
Yes.
dad at night, my sister in the morning.
Yeah.
So I'm getting ready for school, and this is the truth.
Yeah.
We had one bathroom, right? Me and my brother getting ready for school. My sister would hog the bathroom the whole entire morning. We're rushing out. We're
Yep.
trying to get to school. She gives us like 5 minutes to get in the bathroom. I want to get in the bathroom, do what I have to do, and
All right.
take a number 2 real quick, right? I've heard so much music through the walls of the bathroom. It was back to back to
Yeah.
the bathroom. This is 100% true. So, I just know the Stones now. I had like a mixtape of like Billy Joel and like the Police and just a mix of stuff
Yeah,
on,
U2,
on a
Depeche
cassette tape
Mode.
that I made with like
Yeah.
one cassette to the next, recording off with the radio. And then I'm sitting on the bowl and I just hear I swear that's the first
Yeah.
time I heard Nirvana. And I think it's the first time I also just heard like that sound, that grungy sound. I'm like, what the heck is this?
Yeah.
God forbid you knock on the door and ask her what it is. She's like, go away. You know what I mean? But like, and then you have Smelly Teen Spirit and the drumming. Then it goes into In Bloom.
Yes.
And like as a drummer, in terms of writing and learning new things, I'm like, what the heck is this?
Yeah.
So it just hit me huge. And I learned a lot about music and just different types of bands through those walls of that bathroom. But Nirvana for sure. I mean, it got me to want to play Tama like Dave Grohl did. His style of drumming, he's just like a hard hitter. But I also loved, in terms of playing, when he did Unplugged. That was
Yes.
the first
Yeah.
time I saw like a drummer, I think, and for me anyway, play very like low key and like play to the acoustic sound. And all I knew with him was like banging his head around, slamming drums, and all of a sudden he was like totally low key. So he showed me dynamics, and that was like big for me. But just their song after song with Nevermind, of course, they influenced me in changing how I played and what kind of band I wanted to be in, like with you
Yeah.
guys, of course, and everything, and album after album. The albums before that, too, once you discovered all the other albums they had,
Yeah.
the songs they had before that, is just very mind-blowing to me.
So
Yeah.
here's another wrestling fact
All right.
that ties into Nirvana. If you go back to old school WCW, Diamond Dallas Page, I don't know if it was actually Smells Like Teen Spirit or not, but it might have been like a copycat version of it.
Yes.
That was DDP's music. It would be Self High Five. That was his
Yeah.
whole thing. And then it went into something very similar to a
Wow.
Nirvana sounding music. It's another case of a band getting so big that it's infiltrating other areas of pop culture, that they're beyond just a musical act at that point.
Exactly, and they were so influential, man. Like
Yeah.
the 3-piece, just the power and the sound. It was
Yeah.
just something
And
like,
it-
you've never heard before.
Yeah, I think the first CD you owned was actually
Yeah.
in Euro,
Yeah.
which is a
That's
powerhouse
what
album.
convinced
Because it had
me to go
Nevermind
buy in
cassette.
Euro because you had the CD and I was like, dude, let's go to Kmart right now and
Yeah.
we go get it. I'm like, what's Wave Me? What's that?
All right.
I didn't know anything about the censorship back then. I was like, oh,
Right.
oh, it's that word. Okay.
I
But
just-
go ahead.
I was gonna say a quick fact about Smells Like Teen Spirit is I think this is really more of you and Rob. You told me this story, but when we had like our I guess middle school dance, they banned Smelly Teen Spirit. I don't know if you knew that, PJ.
I didn't know
yeah,
that.
it was me, you, Anthony.
Yeah.
We went there together for I think 7th or 8th grade dance. But they banned Smells Like Teen Spirit because of my brother's grade because someone said to put on Smells Like Teen Spirit and a mosh pit broke out and a giant one. And anyway, it's
People
been
went nuts.
it's been banned ever since. Yeah. I guess one more quick fact about us, and I'll get to my next music choice. We played the last talent show of our high school. I was only in the 6th grade, but we played 4 songs. We were the second to last band to go on. We opened up, of course, with Silverchair. Then we played a Nirvana song. We played Lithium. I think the first one we played Find a Way by Silverchair, then Lithium. Then we played Tomorrow by Silverchair, and then we ended with Smell Like Teen Spirit. And then, like, while we were playing on stage, actually, Sean wasn't even in the band. He left. But our bass player at the time ended up messing up the bass solo to Lithium. But when we did play at the end with Smell Like Teen Spirit, we had people jumping behind the stage. It looked like the music video. You were in a high school. Yeah. It was really great for me because I was only in middle school. I was in 6th grade. But to be on that stage with you guys was very... I didn't get that much respect in middle school, but I knew with your circle of friends, I had a lot of respect, which was great.
Yeah, that was awesome. And, with Nirvana too, real quick, sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
His voice was different.
Yeah.
And they're very melodic. You know, they have all the pieces you need for good music. So
and he's very hard.
Melodic, yet they're like heavy.
Yeah.
Melodic. And I thought that was just awesome.
And real quick with Kurt, he's very hard to cover. His vocals are very hard. Not many people can cover. People just think of him screaming, but it ain't easy covering his songs. I remember I covered a few of his songs, like I did, Territorial Pissings, but he's very difficult to cover, man. Woo.
Yep. He has one of the things that you notice about musicians is that they have their own style of playing, and Kurt Cobain had a way of how he played the guitar.
Yes.
And some of the riffs that you would see, it's like, this sounds like Eddie Van Halen. It's like, no, it was Kurt.
Yeah.
Like some of the songs that were like, what?
Yeah, he's very underrated as a guitar player. Mm-hmm. So, PJ, I'm going to piggyback with you with the hip-hop choice.
Okay.
This also, I heard this album played countless times by my sister. The house was shaking. I missed this rap group. I know they kind of had, successful solo careers, but the Fugees. I mean, that album, what was it called? Oh, yeah, The Score. That's what it was. I mean, every song they had on is a banger. Wyclef, he went on to be very successful. You had Praz, Lauryn Hill. I mean, I really wish we had rappers like her. That's no disrespect, but I mean, she sung beautifully. I mean, she's a hell of a singer. I know she has mental health issues. I'm not getting into. I'm talking about just her talent itself. When she rapped, she's great. Listen to the song Fuji La. I mean, that's an infectious hit. When that song starts, bam! That song is just cooking. And I remember real quick. What's the ballad she sings? Oh, Killing Me Softly. It was a cover. But I remember years later, Dave Chappelle had a movie called Block Party. And I went there with my friend Mike and my friend Brian. We're only white guys in the theater seeing it. But I remember they had like a reunion. But anyway, that's a very special album because my sister played it countless times. They covered, and they sampled Enya, Bet Ready or Not, It's a great album, and
that's another album that's pleasing to the ear.
Yes, and it just flows.
Yeah,
flows.
It's not a struggle to get through those songs.
It's got a great vibe. There's like space in the music. You can just really listen to it.
Yeah. PJ, what do you got?
I'm gonna go to what I think might be in the realm of possibility the most successful band of the '90s, or very close to it, is Hootie and the Blowfish.
Oh, yeah.
I'm actually a big Hootie fan, which is odd because everyone knows that I like metal the most, but I love Hootie and the Blowfish. Their sound, again, anyone can listen to that and find and if you don't love it, you probably won't hate it. They just have an easy to listen to sound. But just some facts on that, Cracked Rear View sold 10.2 million copies in the United States. And is considered one of the best-selling albums in the United States of all time. It went platinum 21 times.
Oh my God! Wow. My dad got that album through that Columbia house.
I love this band.
Yeah.
On repeat.
I really do love that band. I've seen them live as Hootie. I've seen Darius Rucker live with his country act. I think he has one of the most
really
iconic
nice
voices. It's such a great voice, and it's adaptable to any genre of music because he's Hootie, which is. I guess you want to call Hootie, I don't know what you'd call it, soft rock maybe?
Yeah, I guess so,
yeah. A combination.
Yeah, right?
It's more like pop.
Yeah, I guess you could call it pop, too.
Southern pop,
yeah.
maybe.
But he also does country really, really well. And I mean, that first album has like 1 million hits, like Hold My Hand, Let Her Cry.
I love Let Her Cry. I love that song.
Let Her Cry is my favorite. I have it circled on my list of their
It's a beautiful song.
That's
a
great
really
song.
beautiful song.
You can't talk about the 90s and 90s music and not have Hootie and the Blowfish because again, I think they maybe are one of the most iconic '90s bands.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they had a soothing sound. I just want to add to it. And like, I feel like different types of listeners can hear it.
Yeah.
Like, you know, if you're into like heavy metal or this or that, they were like a band you can kind of listen to again.
Yeah.
And that's why they kind of like transformed to other like people's ears, or like other people can hear
Yeah.
it, you know, more easily.
And I mean, that's another band that transcends other areas of pop culture. They were on
Right.
Friends. They were on an episode of Friends all built around that band. Like, they just became so big and so popular that they weren't just a band anymore. They were pop culture. They are way bigger than just a band, and that's how popular and how good they were. I mean, I'm not a musician, so I can't talk to the technical stuff, but they sound
Doesn't have
great.
to be.
They're
Doesn't-
rock-
it doesn't,
they're
you don't
rock
have to be
solid.
technical to be
Yeah.
good, man.
They
Yeah.
write good songs. They have tons
Yeah.
of hits. I love their hits.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? A lot
Nice.
of audiences will, you know, obviously like them.
Yeah. Shawnee Bates, what do you got on your next on your list?
All right, so the next band I got here is Tool.
Yeah,
Oh,
they're on
yeah.
my
Now,
ear.
I am a
That's
big.
another one we're
I-
all crossing off our list right now.
Yeah, I am a big prog fan. There was a lot of bands that I listened to when when my parents used to drive upstate. My dad would play Death Row Toll,
Yep.
Genesis, and all his other stuff. You know, where the songs are like, what
Yeah.
the hell is this? You know, but then as I started listening to music more, I would, you know, I stumbled upon Tool, was sober and whatever, but when Anima came out, you know, I had to get it, and I was just like blown away by the album. I was like, holy crap! Like,
Yeah.
and it inspired me to like just experiment with my guitar playing, and it also introduced me. I think that was I don't know if it was that band or there's another band on the list. Maybe I'll bring up. I forgot which band it was. But a lot of bands technically went down to the drop D. You know,
Yeah.
it taught me the drop D because I'm like, I can't play this riff, and then not realizing, oh, I got to drop one string down, you know, and it's just, yeah, and also Maynard's vocals, you know.
Yeah. Oh, Danny Carey on
Danny
drums,
Carey
Justin Chancellor,
Yeah,
and
it's
all those
just,
guys.
Adam Jones on guitar, it's just
Yeah.
incredible.
Yeah, I mean, he definitely influenced my guitar tone when I played drop D for sure.
Yeah.
I ripped him off big time.
I know. We all
And
did.
Drum wise as well.
Danny
Yeah.
Carey, one of my
Like,
favorite
Yeah.
drummers of all
they're,
time.
like progressive.
I just
The
like,
parts, you know, still can't play. Like they're just crazy.
know.
You gotta really give
I
it
first
time.
heard Tool in your
Timing.
bedroom. Yeah.
well,
yeah.
this might bring
Actually,
up.
Sean, you'd introduced me to Tool as well. Actually, yeah.
I'm trying to remember. It's been, yeah. All I can say is that it was a band that challenged me a bit. I was just like, ooh,
Yeah.
I want to try some of this, and also Time Beat too.
Exactly. Whereas
The
the one
time
before
signatures.
time, now it's
Which
changing.
might lead us
Yeah,
to something else later, but yeah, it was one of my bands that I was really influenced, and also kind of introduced me into prog in a way.
Yeah.
What's crazy is I've never heard anyone say they don't like Tool,
Mm-hmm.
but Tool is not as big as they should be for a band that everybody likes.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
They have a
don't.
good like cult following.
Yeah.
I would say.
But that's
I mean,
really
they sell
it.
out.
It's-
Though
yeah.
people are dying for their album. It took 10 years or so.
Yeah.
But they finally
Yeah,
did it.
yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah. No, totally.
Rob, who do you got on your list?
All right. So the next one is interesting. To cause a little fire at this table.
Uh-oh.
So yeah,
Don't
I love
do
this.
it.
I love this band. Yeah. So at this cool kids lunch table, there's someone here I want to have a
Oh
bone to
no!
pick
Don't
with.
do it!
I'm doing it.
Don't
I
do
think-
it.
I think he
Oh,
already
Don't
knows.
do it!
Oh, here we go.
He's gonna
here we
do
go,
it.
here we go.
Dave Matthews Band.
Oh.
Look at that.
I thought it was gonna be
I thought
someone
the other one.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Was the other one? Maybe I don't know.
I was gonna say you two.
I thought you
Oh,
meant
well, I know.
you
I know he
too.
hated that too.
Yeah,
I was
yeah,
listening to
yeah.
that episode. I was like dying.
Yeah, but talk
inside.
about yeah,
But
that's a good choice.
I feel like I
though.
was getting. I just had more like I want to get at you with this one. So Dave Matthews, yeah. I mean, I don't know. I like their songs. I think they're fun. I know in school it was like, oh man, no, if you listen to that, you were like or whatever. But I was like still a musician then. You know, I wasn't one of those. I almost feel like that was like wrongly accusing people who listened to it, honestly. But I think they got a great sound. Also, I find them a little bit progressive. Also, they have some great jams. As a drummer, I learned also a lot from him. Between Danny Carey from Tool, him, Travis Barker, Blink-182. I mean, I just think they're just so great. Satellite, come on. I know you hate Ants Marching. That's what I was dying. You know, so many good albums.
Look,
I mean, they were huge. Though. You really can't
they're
deny.
huge,
I know
and
it's
I
funny,
don't
waited-
question their talent or ability.
Yeah.
They're a solid band. I just don't like their sound. It doesn't resonate with me. I don't know what it is about them. I just never got into it. There's a couple of songs I think are fine.
What was funny is it took me initially. I didn't love his voice, believe it or not.
I think that's what it is for me. I think it's him.
But
Yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
music, I always get wrapped in by the drummer sometimes, or how they're playing,
Oh,
or what
yeah.
they're doing on guitar, and then I get into a band. A lot of bands I got into like in that way. But I get it, no, I respect it. But yeah, I definitely, I
That-
have to drum to them, practice to them. I mean,
They're
that was
another
huge.
band that is, especially himself. He really is bigger than the band at this point. He's been on TV shows. He was on like an episode of House.
Yeah.
As one of House's patients that had to be cured and everything else. Look, I'm not saying they're not important to music. I'm not saying they're not a very talented band. I'm just saying I don't like his voice. I don't like their sound. And look, I'm not saying you're one of them, but a lot of the people that listen to that band,
Oh no.
they you know what? They have on like a one of those checkered shirts.
No, I definitely don't have one of those.
They're wearing checkered collared shirts. They're wearing khaki shorts. They're wearing flip flops. They got their collar popped. They're at Jones
Yeah.
Beach being douchey. I'm sorry. Go to the bed. Let's get.
Well, you know me for a long time, not one of them. But I get it. I know.
I know you're not one of them. I know you for a long time. You're
Yeah.
not one of them. But if we go to the beach and they're playing there, guaranteed everyone's wearing a shirt that looks like a picnic table with a popped collar and open-toed sandals being douchey. It's just what's going to happen at that concert.
No.
You're the exception, not the rule.
No, I get you, man.
We won't kick you off the table.
Not everyone's a douchebag. Okay?
Yeah.
Not everyone. Not everyone's
I'm
a
not going to be
douchebag.
able to change your
But
mind, I guess,
Not
today.
not today.
Yeah. I don't know, man, but I definitely dug them for sure. It was funny, though. I only saw them once live. I don't know why I put it off. I finally did, because I actually always heard they would, like, jam off, which I always loved jams as a musician, but they would jam off on, like, the same chord. So they'd be going, like, dum, 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 for, like, 10 minutes. But I loved it. I'm probably going to see them again, but, Dave Matthews Band, you got to do it.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, that's
All
a
right.
great choice.
They belong on the list of best 90s bands. I don't
Right.
dispute that. I just don't like them.
This is another 90s band, and I think maybe after this we can kind of do like our lightning rounds,
Yeah.
and we'll maybe go early 2000s kind of focus. But just a kind of more of a deep dive on this. This is one of my favorite bands. They put out in my opinion, they're all solid, great albums. They're called Days of the New. I think,
Yes.
you most folks at home, you probably know the song like Touch, Peel and Stand and the Downtown. But basically, I always felt like, because of the unplugged era in terms of MTV, they got signed for that. And all their music is unplugged, but I just love the songwriting. Travis Meeks, the singer, he's one of my favorite singers. He's one of my favorite vocalists. I love how he plays guitar. I actually had the pleasure of meeting him. I'll tell you a quick story about that. But if you're into like the Doors, if you're into like acoustic music, it's very like spiritual, and it's, it's kind of just basically, I don't want to say it's grunge. I think that's not even fair to say, but there's a heaviness to it. It really feels like kind of like the unplugged era when you had like, and I'm sure we'll go into a lightning round, all these great bands that did unplugs, Nirvana, STPs, Alice in Chains, but I think it's great songwriters when you strip it down, it still sounds good. And some of these songs that he has, like, I'm like, oh my God, imagine some of these songs electric. Wow. Like, ugh. It already sounds, ugh. Like, really imagine that full power with electric. But I just really love this band. I know he tried to do a reunion with his former members. I mean, a lot of these successful bands, he struggles with, co-occurring mental health and substance use. But I'll tell you a quick story about Days of New. I saw them twice live, actually. I always liked their music. The first time I saw them was actually they opened up for Creed. Mm-hmm. That was my first real concert I went to, and they opened up for them, and I'm like, I need to get their CD. And little people know, the second album has a female vocalist. And Nicole Scherzinger, the girl from the Pussycat Dolls, she sings on it. And let me tell you something. You would never guess it's her on vocals. She sounds so good on it. It's just like very like operatic. But when I met him, I saw him play a show at this used to be this bar called Crazy Donkey.
I'm a donkey on the edge.
So he played the show, and you got to wait online. So I was so nervous. I didn't even know he was going to do this. So I had my ticket for him to sign. And I was so nervous waiting online. This girl in front of me saw I was like squirming. She's like, "Oh, you can go in front of me." So I was like, "Okay." It was only one person, but hey, it's one person less in front of me. So I went up to him and I said, "I'm like, yo," and I put my hand out first, and I go like, "Yo, I love you. You're making me be a better guitar player, musician, blah blah blah." And he shook my hand, wrote on it. He put his hand out to shake my hand for a second time. He goes, "Thank you."
Nice.
And so I really felt like it was special that he shook my, because he didn't give anyone else 2 handshakes. I got 2.
Right.
I got 2. So anyway, I really recommend all their albums. Yeah, and they're very special to me. PJ.
We doing rapid fire round?
Yeah, kind of just talk about your favorite bands,
I'm just gonna throw this out here. Blues Traveler.
Nice.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's a 90s band that I think didn't really reach the heights they could have. I think because their sound is not necessarily as mainstream as others. John Popper, fantastic harmonica player.
Yep.
And they were on Roseanne of all
Yeah.
the TV shows. They had an
I
episode of
remember
Roseanne.
that, yeah.
You ever hear him play the national anthem, like the?
Yeah.
Yo, it's beautiful.
He's great.
It's very moving.
Yeah,
it's
he's
like
great.
I look it up on YouTube. It's very moving. Oh, we're just gonna
We're
go
doing
around.
we're doing rapid fire, right?
bam, bam, bam. Okay, go.
All right, Pantera.
Oh, that's
I,
great.
yeah, I had it on
groove
my list.
metal.
Yeah, they were
Groove
on my
metal.
list
I
also.
mean,
Oh, yeah,
Dimebag
great
Darrell to
drummer.
me was like, Vinnie Paul,
Influential.
Rex Brown. They're just incredible. I've been following them a lot. I got all their albums during that time, and it was really disappointing when I wanted to see them live, but then
Yeah.
they dispersed, and then
Tragedy hit.
tragedy hit,
Yeah.
and, so. But no, there's always it's just an underrated group that I always play over and over.
And I've always felt that Pantera is really groovy. It literally has groove, all the music groove, and
Metal.
they're really more of a. I always kind of seem like a blues band, really.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
heavy, they're metal, but they're really more blues.
And they did the entrance music for Rob Van Dam, more wrestling.
Oh, good. Thank you, PJ. Rob.
Nice. I'm going with 311.
Oh!
Reggae sound. I love the drummer as well. Great band. Sexton is awesome. And I'm also going to mention the same Blink 182.
Yes.
Two of mine out of the way right now. Yeah. Two influential bands, great bands as we know. Huge in the 90s.
Yeah.
Still going.
Yeah, I think, especially with 311, they're in a league of their own. Some people break their balls, but hey, they incorporate rock,
Yeah.
hip hop,
Reggae,
reggae, everything's in there. And Blink, I mean, what you could say,
Yeah,
they're one of the
Blink.
best bands, and actually a good
Thank
segue
God
for me.
Tom came back.
Yep, yeah. Because I gotta say, I might ramble off a couple real quick, guys. Green Day, I mean, come on.
Yeah,
we
they're on my list.
I mean, like-
used to cover them a
5 hours
lot.
for this,
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I guess you could say for Green Day, I'll just say this: I call them like timeless punk. So I feel like certain punk bands, their punk music is found very dated and very like, You know what I mean? Like after a while, it's hard to revisit certain punk bands. But I feel like, you can listen to Dookie now; it still sounds fresh. I can say certain punk bands, it's kind of hard to. I never got full into punk, but I feel like the magic of songwriting. I also put on here. A band called Static X. If you remember them.
Okay.
I think the best way to describe them is how the singer described his music. Evil disco, and every song makes you. It's 4 on the floor. It's just fun riffs and everything. And this is this band that I found. VH1 HBO used to have a show called HBO Reverb. And they would show kind of bands, and I watched this one episode because I love Mudvayne. I'll give them their shout out. Love Mudvayne, and they're coming back. But there was a band called One Side Zero, and I was like, whoa! They played 2 songs, and then I ended up going to this place called Coconuts. It was like a music store.
Coconuts.
And I was with my friend Dan at the time, and I'm like, I saw it there. I'm like, dude, I had no money on me. I'm like, dude, I have to borrow money from you. I'm like, I never ask anyone for money ever. I'm like, dude, I will pay you back, and thank God he did. It's that album from front to back is amazing, and I guess they're like a forgotten gem, but they were on the soundtrack to A Walk to Remember. I think the one with Mandy Moore in it.
That's A Walk to Remember.
Their song is on there. But anyway, great album and a great band. I think they only put out 2 albums, but that first album is spectacular. One Side Zero. TJ, keep going.
I actually, as we were talking, thought of a band that wasn't on my list, but I actually really like, so I'm going to just throw it out there.
Do it.
I don't have much to talk about because I wasn't prepared, but Soul Asylum.
Oh,
Yes!
Yeah.
Oh, PJ.
Right?
Yeah.
Oh,
Got it on my
It's
list.
on your
You got
list.
it. Yeah, cool.
I think Misery, is one of the best songs out
Frustrated.
there. I think that's a great song, so I had them on my list. Linkin Park.
Oh,
Yes.
Yes.
I put them actually in the 2000s.
That's
you're right.
that's
They're early
2000.
2000s.
2000s, but Linkin
Yeah.
Park.
I think they came out in 2000.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
real thing with the Linkin Park, they are the best-selling band of the new millennium.
Yes.
Linkin Park
for
is.
them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I also have on here a band that's probably not going to be popular around the table, but I like them. I don't care. Disturbed.
Yes.
Really?
I like Disturbed.
The
first one, Down with
first
the
album
Sickness.
was pretty good. The second album was all right. I had a following with them too,
Yeah.
but then it's like, go ahead.
Yeah. In the beginning, I don't follow them now, but when that first one came out, Down with the Sickness comes out,
Yeah.
he has that yell and that scream that he does. Everyone knows.
Yeah.
I mean, I just thought
I
they
feel
were
like
fun.
I like those songs like Stupefy, whatever the heck it is.
Yeah.
But for me, I don't think they aged well. I don't know why people make a big deal. I
still
hate
like
their, I
them.
think we talked about our other episode.
Yeah.
I can't stand their cover of Simon and Garfunkel.
I
don't
thought
know.
they did a good job on that cover, to be
yeah.
I like
honest.
it too.
Yeah, I thought they did a good job on that.
Yeah, I don't know.
I
Yeah.
gotta say, I like it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I thought, and it's not better than the original, but I thought they did a bang up job
Yeah.
on it.
Right.
Do I have anything else? Just rapid fire. I put Drowning Pool on here. I think
Okay.
they
Yeah.
make the limit of early 2000s,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
Yep.
I had them on my list, and there's a song I have on here. It's not the whole band. It's just the one song. I believe in a thing called Love from the Darkness.
Yeah.
Yes.
I
yes,
like
yes,
that
yes,
song
yes.
so
Yeah.
much. I don't know another song that they did, but
We actually covered that song a few years ago back with a few old friends, and I remember it was tough to play. So, but go ahead.
that one song, I just thought it was. I thought it was such a throwback when that came out. It didn't sound like anything else on
Yeah.
on the radio at that time. I like that. And one other one-hit wonder I threw on my list was Teenage Dirtbag from Wheatus. I
Yeah,
always
yes.
think of that song when I think of early 2000s.
Yes.
So that's
a good
my
one.
rapid fire list.
All right, here's my rapid fire list. I'll try to be quick. I got Dream Theater.
Yes.
You know,
they're on
it's
I
this
can't
something
believe
that
that's
we-
on the rapid fire list.
Yeah.
I know. There was
Right.
we always talk about Dream Theater. Again, prog band from Long Island. Incredible musicians. Another band I got in here is Weezer.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now I know a lot of people. Now a lot of fans either favor the Blue Album or Pinkerton. I think the Blue Album to me is like a masterpiece.
Yeah,
I don't
absolutely.
understand the Pinkerton thing.
Yep.
Another band I got in here is Filter.
Yes!
Oh, yeah.
Another
Yes!
underlying
Underrated band,
band.
yeah.
And I also opened up for them. And another band I got in there that you will probably laugh about is Creed.
Oh,
No, I had
no?
them on there.
I had
don't-
Creed
I don't
on
hate
there.
Creed.
Everything you guys
I
talk about.
love Creed, and then
Yeah.
like after the third album, I just kind of fell off. Like
Yeah.
I kind of understood that. I also got Korn,
Yep.
Deftones,
Me too.
Yep.
Typo Negative,
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
and last but not least, Foo Fighters.
Oh,
All right, I think
yeah.
when Dave Grohl started this, I actually was on board with the first album before
Yeah.
everything else came in.
Yeah.
So I've been right from the beginning. I got right into it, not because he was the drummer of
Yeah.
Nirvana,
Yeah.
because-
You genuinely like the music. Yeah.
yeah.
I want to add one to my rapid fire list before I forget. Slipknot.
Yes.
Yeah, I got it on
That's
my
a
list
good
too.
one.
Yeah.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So
All right, a few remaining for my 90s. Smashing
Yeah.
Pumpkins.
Yep.
yes.
That we didn't talk about. Soundgarden.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh my goodness, that was just not Nine
These-
Inch Nails.
Yes.
Yes.
These are all the typicals. Yeah, I know.
Then 2000s, I said Good Charlotte. I was into them for a little bit.
Yeah,
Movies
they
were
had
funny
good
about them.
harmonies, yeah.
Hoobastank.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect
Hoobastank.
Circle.
Yes.
I love them. Chevelle.
Yeah.
I had a little bit of a emo moment for myself. The Get Up Kids. Anyone know them?
Yes.
Check them
Yes.
out. Yeah, amazing.
Mhm.
Dashboard Confessional also.
Yep,
guilty.
very good.
I love them. Yeah, I kind of leave it at that. And the Used, I'll say. Anyone?
Yeah, nice choices.
I
I love
I'm not
all
a
these
fan
guys.
That album
And I
is
love
good,
all the
yeah.
musicians in this stuff, in these bands. Yeah.
Yeah, I have them on my list too. I forgot to bring it up. Sorry
That's
about that.
No, it's all right, dude.
Go ahead.
I have a lot of you guys kind of stole my thunder, but these are not in any particular order. I love this first album by this band. They're still around. I don't know if I guess they're a group. The Gorillas. You know,
Yeah,
with the,
I have
you
the.
know,
I have the
that
first
first
album.
album is
the first
spectacular.
album's great.
It's
Yeah.
I don't know.
awesome.
Did they make anything after the first?
Yeah.
Yeah, they had the second album. I forgot the name of it.
Yeah.
Demon Days.
Demon- yeah,
That's
yeah,
it.
yeah.
It was pretty good.
But it's okay.
yeah,
but
that-
that first
yeah.
album was awesome,
Great.
though. It's every song on that is a banger. These are other kind of hip hop groups. I really like Ludacris.
Llama, llama, what?
Makes You Want to Dance. Outkast. What a dynamic duo those two. This is kind of maybe early '90s, maybe it's late '80s. But Enya, I just remember a lot of her music was being played. You know, Caribbean Blue. You know, Only Time. That was a big thing. You know, the Pure Mood CD. Limp Bizkit. I feel like Limp Bizkit and Korn, like, I know some people kind of goof on new metal. I don't really know why, but I feel like, hey, they're in a league of their own. No one sounds like Fieldy on bass. No one sounds like Fred Durst. They're original. They're more original than you. Let's just say that. You can pick on them, but they're more original than you. They don't have anyone else's style. They got their own style. That's all I'll say about that. I miss in terms of female singers. I think this is early 2000s too. Nelly Furtado. I really thought she had a very beautiful voice.
You can say the Spice Girls.
Yeah. I also want to talk about one of my favorite bands. So, a segue. So, A Perfect Circle, obviously we know is a super group, essentially. Josh Freese, Maynard from Tool, Billy Howard, my favorite guitar players. But they covered a song called Oh my God, I'm drawing a blank. A nurse. What's a nurse?
Nurse Who Loved Me?
The Nurse
Nurse Who Loved Me, thank
Failure.
you.
Failure.
Got it.
Right. Well, that's what
I should have put that on my list.
Right. Well, that's why I'm here. So when I first heard their second album, the 13th Step, which is actually about recovery, probably this relapse. But anyway, they cover that song, and then I discovered that's the band who wrote it is called Failure. They are an amazing band. I think because of A Perfect Circle, cover that song, it repopularized or gave them a second life, and now they're back better than ever.
Yeah.
They are great. They have an album. They're probably their best album is Fantastic Planet, and it is fantastic. Every song is a banger. All their albums are great. Their latest one is amazing. So check out the band Failure, and they are the complete opposite of Failure. They're amazing. And is that it? Oh, I just thought bands. I thought of you, Rob. I thought of Stained. You know,
Yeah, I'm on the list.
I thought a band that he can. Hey, this guy cracks me up. Kid Rock. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He knocks your teeth in. He makes you want to play.
Alan Manson.
I put Collective Soul. They were a great band. 9 Inch Nails, Creed. I put Sugar Ray. I'm a sucker for those great songs.
NKOTB.
Oh, New Kids on the
Block.
Block. Yeah.
Oh my God, yeah,
And then
yeah.
I'd be remiss if I didn't talk about Dream Theater. I know I always talk about
I
it,
know, listen.
but I know we're running out of time. I know we're running out of the lunchroom. The lunch ladies are up our ass right now. Anyway, guys, what a beautiful list. Thank you so much for coming to our show and hanging out at the lunch table.
It was awesome being here. Thank you again.
Yeah, thank you so much. Sorry if I exaggerate.
No, you're beautiful, Sean.
We
Thank
really
you.
appreciate you guys coming on. We're definitely going to have you back.
Yeah.
We're
Awesome.
definitely
I'd
going
love
to
to
be
be
at the
back.
table
Yeah.
again.
Yeah.
Thank
I
you.
think that's
Thank you
so
so
really
much.
cool.
Just to do any quick plugs, Sean, is there any people can hear your music?
Yes, you can hear my band Night Screams on. I believe we have a Facebook page and a YouTube page, and we were part of CD Baby. I think you can. We're still under there on Spotify. Where if you just spell Night Screams, it's Night is spelled regular, but as for Screams, it's SKREAMS, not with the C.
Right, and I think night is actually like a
And the
knight in
night-
shining armor, not night as a nighttime.
Yeah.
Just
And,
because
you know,
it's
you
spelled
can
like
also
a
get
K.
our- you can also-
You said night, spelled like there's two different
Yeah.
kinds of nights. You know.
Yeah, so you can get our. You can also listen to our album Screams of the Night on CD. You can get it on CD Baby.
Nice.
And
Great.
go ahead.
Rob.
Yeah, well, as your listeners might know, I was in the Day with Mikey, and Sean for a time. Tomorrow's Fire. You can go to Facebook, Tomorrow's Fire, or tomorrowsfire.com. Check out some of our tunes. See some of our videos on YouTube. You can see our Inception video for our song Daydreaming. It was based on the movie Inception. It was inspired by that, so you can YouTube that. Daydreaming Inception. We also have MoranBrothers.com or Moran Brothers Production Company you can check out. And
Yeah.
that's pretty much it.
I guess I'll plug our band one more last
Yeah,
time.
do it, yeah,
If you go to we have a band with a band camp, Tomorrow's Fire. You just search us on there, and then if you go to our YouTube channel, Tomorrow's Fire, we always talk about Dream Theater. We actually had Derek Sherinian, their former keyboardist, recording our song Shiver in Summertime, and that was that's a whole. We could do an episode on just hanging out, how we spoke to him. Anyway, guys,
Good
PJ.
times.
I love you. Or PJ surrounded by 3 musicians. But
No, for me, this is actually very interesting stuff to hear because I don't know the other side of listening to music, so it's very interesting to me. So I was, I try and contribute by saying my favorite bands, but I was actually more entertained and more interested in hearing what you guys had to say. It's very insightful for someone who doesn't have that kind of musical background.
yeah, well, thanks again, guys, for coming on the show. I'm sure we'll have you guys in the future. And, folks at home, you know where to go. Same time, same table.
Have a good one.
Boys and girls, lunchtime is over. Please visit PJ and Mike's website, coolkidslunchtable.podbean.com for more information. Follow the boys on all social media apps. Just search Cool Kids Lunch Table Podcast. Now get to class before you get detention.